Welcome to the Coach's Corner. I'm Mike Van Hooser. Well, it's the end of a quarter, and it's important to take stock in kind of how things have gone over the last quarter, especially if you've outlined some goals that you want to accomplish this year and want to check in and see how things are going. And I think it's important that we do this in our life, that we do that on a regular basis, whether it be just daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly check-ins to see how things are going, if they're going according to plan, if challenging circumstances have come up that have prevented us from accomplishing some of our goals or have distracted us from staying focused on what's most important. So this is something we use a lot with our coaching clients, both in business and in sports and in life. And I use it myself to check in on how things have been going over the last quarter. And I would recommend that you do this on a regular basis. And today I wanted to give you 5 tips for how to do a quarterly review. They're not exhaustive tips, and there's more to it than as a process. And we'll talk about how to schedule this at the end of a quarter and what to do. But let's go ahead and get right into what those 5 tips are, and maybe it'll help you. And so I think the first thing that's really important when you're evaluating how the last quarter went for you in your life is to document your biggest wins. So think about biggest wins, biggest accomplishments, things you're most proud of, and to think about those things in terms of the goals that you set out from the beginning of the year. And not only in the things you've done, but also who you're becoming. And I think that's a real important piece of this as well. But document those. It's good to challenge yourself to be grateful for the things that you've accomplished and the things that have been blessings in your life over the last year. And it's important that we do that because a lot of times we focus on the negative, or we think, well, we haven't really done anything, or there haven't been accomplishments, or there hasn't been impact with the platforms that we have. And when we take time to document what some of those things are, it makes us realize, or helps us realize, that, hey, we are making an impact with our life. And there are things that we're doing that are purposeful, meaningful, and important to us. So documenting our wins is really important, and thinking about that and thinking about, what those things have been. The second tip is doing what I call a goal check-in and a life purpose check-in. And basically it's checking in on how it's going on your goals, where your biggest wins may be more strategic, and there could be wins that are goal related. Checking in on specific goals and seeing where you are. Maybe you've got a goal that you want to accomplish by the end of the year, but you want to check quarterly progress on how you've done on that. So that's important to think about, as far as where you are. Are you 25% complete? Are you 50% complete? Have you not done anything yet towards that? You need to actually do some things towards that. So having a goal check-in by goal and seeing where you are, seeing if you've accomplished the goals that you set maybe to accomplish by the first quarter as well. So doing a goal check-in and seeing where you are on that goal as well. And then in addition to that, your life purpose check-in. How are you doing on that? And again, that's not something that should change every year, but you want to reconnect to what your life purpose is. And are you doing those things daily and weekly, not only in terms of goals, but in terms of who you're becoming and just your regular routine that you're living out your life purpose? And doing a check-in on a quarterly basis is really important to say, am I connecting the daily and weekly things that I'm investing time in to my overall life purpose? And if not, it leads you to some planning that we'll talk about as far as the next quarter and what you need to do. The third thing is a start, stop, and continue. And we do this with a lot of business teams we work with, but I think it's important to do it on an individual basis. And I'll do this with my coaching clients, and I do it with myself as well in a quarterly review, is to outline and identify the things I need to start doing, the things I need to stop doing, and the things that I need to continue doing. So start doing, might be things like, I said I'm going to try to run in the morning, so maybe I need to start getting to bed earlier because I want to be able to get a good night's sleep, get proper rest, and then be able to get up in the morning and work out or go run or cycle or whatever it is that I might do. And so think about those things and things that maybe you haven't been doing but you need to start doing. there may be some things that you need to stop doing. So maybe if you're trying to get going with that rest theme, if you're trying to get to bed earlier and get proper sleep, maybe you need to stop checking social media and news and things like that right before you go to bed, because that's going to get you keyed up. And you need to stop doing certain things that, and a lot of times the stop things will lead to start things. Maybe I need to start winding down sooner and being able to do that so I can get in a proper state of peace and rest before I actually go to sleep at night. So those are some examples, but there are probably things that have happened over the last quarter that you need to stop doing. And then on the third, area, the continue, you need to continue doing certain things. Maybe there's a routine that you've put in place that's been working really well, and you want to highlight that and say, I need to continue doing that. But a start, stop, and continue on a quarterly basis can really help you to identify those things that are process related and system related and routine related that will help you in accomplishing your goals. And so that's really important. I think the fourth thing is doing what I call an Emerson challenge. If you've listened to this podcast or read our blogs, you know that I'm a huge fan of Ralph Waldo Emerson and a lot of his poetry, a lot of his quotes. And I think it's really important, one of the quotes that he has, it's my favorite quote, to integrate this into your quarterly review. And the Emerson challenge is this. The question is, what has become clear since we last met? And you're asking that of yourself. Hopefully you're meeting with yourself on a regular basis to evaluate how things are going, but to ask yourself that. Emerson used to ask his friends that question, what has become clear since we last met, on a regular basis? And we've done other, like I said, blog posts and podcasts on that. But basically that's looking at what are the data points in my life over the last quarter as we're doing a quarterly review. What insight or learning have I gained from those, that clarity? So he's saying what has become clear. And then what action should I take on that? What action does that drive me towards based on the insight I've gained about myself and what's happened over the last quarter? How do I draw insight and then purposeful action into the next quarter? And it's a very powerful question if you engage in that. And we all want clarity in our lives. We all want to be living a purposeful life. So asking that question of what has become clear to me since we last met is really important during a quarterly review, because it'll really lead into, what the next step is. And the next step is doing that next quarterly prep. So that's kind of the fifth thing that's important in a quarterly review. To prep for the next quarter, to basically do maybe monthly and weekly types of planning. Maybe you want to plan out the specific goals that you want to accomplish during the next quarter. Maybe you want to accomplish a percentage on a certain goal that you want to get to by the next quarter. Maybe there are some specific things that you want to highlight during certain months that you want to give attention to. Maybe certain months are going to be better for those based on your calendar and based on what you're doing. I think a lot of times we don't take in inventory of what's on our schedule or what we want to put on our schedule and be purposeful about that. And then we try to put all those goals or all those things that we want in a month that's just not going to be possible because it's going to be so busy during that time. So it's important to think intentionally and purposefully about our schedule, daily, weekly, monthly, and yes, quarterly. So I hope these 5 tips help you in thinking about what you need to do on a quarterly review. And it's the end of the quarter, so take time out, whether that's an hour or whether that's a half day or a full day or a weekend retreat that you want to treat yourself and your family to, or whatever that might be. Do a quarterly review and schedule this into your kind of annual plans. And I guarantee it's going to help you connect with what's been going well and focus on what you want to do in this next quarter. It's going to allow you to make the most of the moments of your life, and it's going to allow you to live out that life purpose. So, and again, as you think about that, I think about the mug that I'm drinking from today, in this coffee mug, and it says, you're on mute. And so many times we've been on Zoom and we've been, on mute, say, I apologize, I was on mute, and you're trying to say something. So the key in this mug and what it reminds me of is I drink coffee every morning and have this mug a lot, is that I don't want to live my life on mute. And so I want to be living with intention and with purpose. So that's my encouragement to you today. As you do a quarterly review, don't live your life on mute. God wants to do amazing things through in and through your life. And so allow him to do that and engage fully in the moments that you have in your life. As always, make the most of the moments in your life.